Really appreciate it. For those of you tuning in, we are having a team meeting right now where we are actually getting together to benchmark the SafeCoin ecosystem and see where we sit right now. We just did an upgrade about 10 days ago, which further improved our efficiency. And now we want to see how much energy the SafeCoin network is really using, as well as getting an idea of how much energy each transaction uses. We want to try to compare ourselves to the Solana network, which is also highly efficient, as well as our previous benchmarking. This time we have numerous devices which we didn't have before. We're trying to get a broader, more diverse data set for us to work with and improve on. So we have here John, who is doing benchmarking on his home computer, Daniel, who is hosting, and myself also benchmarking. Mads is benchmarking as well. Now we may have some others in our chat as well, in our team chat, who are benchmarking on other devices such as VPSs. So they're doing some further experiments. It's a little bit harder to benchmark on a VPS, etc. So the first thing we're going to do, well, actually, I'll let John take it away. But anyway, we're very excited about doing this because we do believe we are the world's most energy efficient blockchain, and we want to keep developing up that and setting standards for the environment. I'm about to, I think I'll let John take over, but I believe John's going to tell me to take a baseline reading with my validator running right now.
Yes, so we're going to do a baseline reading on our current TPS. We're going to do a quick 10-minute run, which basically gives us a baseline on 9 TPS that we're running at. So we'll take a baseline on that, then we'll be able to ramp the TPS up and then see how we look after that. So I've literally just started mine on a quick 10-minute. If everyone wants to just start taking a note on theirs, we should be good for hopefully everyone doing a quick baseline. Obviously, depending on your hardware is going to be what your baseline's running at. So if I take a quick look at mine, I've got to do a quick calculation. So mine's running at 20 watts at the moment, average. So you can see Mads is up at 26, and Jeff's is a little bit higher, but I think he keeps on saying that he's flexing his PC. So his PC seems to be a bit of an animal and chewing up 63 odd watts. So this is with the validator running, ticking over on the network at the moment.
Yeah, I've got a bit of a monster here.
Is that what you say to all the ladies? I guess this is one of the joys of the SafeCoin network at the moment is, and hopefully for a very long time as well, that anyone can run their validator, like mine is running from home. I know Matt is running from home, and you can see that Jeff's is running on his PC at home. So if you've got a decent enough internet connection, which is a 10 meg symmetrical internet connection, you can run from home. You don't need these expensive validators running in a data center somewhere.
this is the point where we actually should add a section mark in YouTube so one can jump and skip those 10 minutes of just looking at graphs.
I was just thinking, were you going to edit this down?
Some people may want to just watch the power meters. That was a joke.
You say that.
Well, there's somebody out there who does.
I might have to send my meter to someone else, just to see if they capture the same data I capture. Because it looks like at certain intervals, suddenly getting a high usage and then drop down again. Now that could just be my machine, but then it'd be interesting to see if it is actually other machines as well.
It's mine as well. Yeah. That could be old source. I do think that's very likely. Well, I don't know. It's probably validator related. Could be data compaction, but it's just for a fleeting moment when it comes back down. What are you getting for your baseline, John?
So at the moment, I am at 20 watts.
20 watts. That's just 20 watts just for the validator?
So that is purely just the validator, yes.
Okay.
So
I believe I'm sitting at around 14.
Oh no, so that's my entire machine. So that's the PC and it running at an average of 9 TPS.
Oh, okay. We should do this in all our meetings.
You're enjoying the silence, eh?
It's very relaxing. Yeah, I get that too. I get a jump up. I'm not sure if I can possibly ask my computer what's causing it. But I highly suspect.
That is the 10 minutes over.
I got a spike right now. Nope, it's not clear. I'll need more testing to figure out if that's the validator or something else on the computer.
So, but we're 12 minutes into recording. I think we can now take the next step.
Yeah, so I've got 20.184 watts as a baseline.
I'm sitting at about the same. That is just for the validator though. But my computer is not super efficient. Okay. Are you guys ready for me to start cranking up the TPS?
So let me just save that 2 seconds. Yeah, I'm ready. As soon as I see the DPS jump up, we'll go for it.
Okay, I've just initiated it. Oh, hold on.
So just to get it right, we're doing it on mainnet, right?
Yeah.
This is on mainnet, yeah. Give me 1 second. We may have just succeeded with the TPS wrap up. We'll find out in a few minutes.
I'm seeing it.
You're seeing it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seen it on the validator, ramping up. Gone from a 35% CPU load to a 49% CPU load.
Yeah. I'm getting an extra 10 watts. Oh, a little bit more.
Just let the Explorer catch up and then we'll start it. Looks like it's about to. Yeah, there we go. What have you gone for, Jeff? 2000?
Yeah.
Considering that's a massive increase, I've seen an extra. Well, my maths is rubbish. 13%. Sorry, 13% CPU load.
Almost looks like we had no transactions before.
Yeah. Well, I'm starting.
Yeah, I might be getting an extra, I'd say 7 or 8 watts. Not a huge jump.
I'd expect to see less on your machine, Jeff. If yours is a beast of a machine, I'd expect to see less because you're not stressing the CPU as much, so your baseline is higher. But then as soon as it actually has to do some work, it's going to then be less work for it.
Yeah, that would make sense. I mean, depending on why my wattage is higher, but yeah, I just think it's just not a very efficient system. It's just
Well, I think
like
as soon as you add, a couple of graphics cards and stuff, because my validator is very much bare boned, dedicated to a validator. So as soon as you start, adding graphics cards and normal PC stuff, that suddenly the wattage goes up.
Yeah, this is a typical, this is a gaming computer. That's the inside of it there.
You're not worried about wattage when you're gaming.
Well, I don't actually game, but it saves me a little bit of time developing stuff. So
For anyone else interested, that was just Rate My Setup.
is that the TPS coming down now? Not yet.
I think it's going back to stabilising.
Oh yeah. How are you doing there, Mads?
Fine, just looking at some screens, looking at CPU, average about between 30 about 40 watts now, so a slight increase. The CPU usage is a lot more than normal, but that's normal because normally it's about 9 FPS, and now it's about average, I guess. Refresh. Well, average slightly above 2000, 2500.
I'd say it's probably looking at 2,300 as an average TPS. And the nice thing about it is actually transactions rather than just validators talking.
True. And still amazing low.
One interesting thing as well, Jeff, those peaks are even there when we're running at a high TPS as well.
Yeah, I saw that. They just occur every 5 minutes or so.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to confirm if it's coming from the validator or if it's something else. But I mean, the validators do have periodic maintenance functions they have to run, like database compaction, so it could involve that.
It's interesting now that you're seeing it as well as I'm seeing it, which is quite interesting. So I doubt very much, considering both of our machines are very different, and we're both seeing it. That when I do the non-validator test in a minute, it'd be interesting to see if it actually happens for that.
Yeah.
So current calculation, going from 9 TPS to 2,300 TPS, I'm using an extra 13 watts. Can't be bad.
or last minute running if we want to do a 10-minute test. We might keep this in the half-an-hour mark.
Yeah, I'm, what, 8 minutes 30 at the moment.
We now celebrate 3,000 TPS.
And there we are. What do we have? 420. 34.08 watts is what I got from that. So an extra 13 watts for me, going from 9 TPS to 2,300 average was 13 watts. How was yours?
I go from a baseline of 51.8 with no validator, and then 65.2 watts with a validator, and then we have 75.1 watts with the TPS wrapped up.
Nice. Mads?
I think the average, because it's on high, between with the high TPS, it's between 37, 39, and the baseline was 27, so it's only 11 watts higher on average, with peaks higher. Peaks with 46, but also lows 28.
Yeah, I need to look into those peaks because they're interesting in what they are. I think, like Jeff said, is they are validator, compression, or something going on in the background. I do think we need to understand them as well, what they are. It's interesting that we're all seeing them, which is good. It's just understanding what they are, what the validator's doing in the background. I assume that at those intervals. I'm going to shut my validator down to clear that off. you don't need to show this, Daniel. I've just literally shut my validator down. And I'm just going to run a baseline check on seeing if we're going to see those spikes effectively, and what my baseline is as well.
So, would you recommend showing yourself instead, your face, and
But you're happy to show it, but I don't think we need to include the full 10 minutes that I'm going to do if you don't want to. And you don't want to scare people by just doing my face, obviously.
maybe I just speed that up and leave all the words out?
Yeah, that's probably the best way. Just to show that we've at least done it. And then they can see the value at the end.
We can do a couple videos too. We can do a raw video and an edited video with narrative and commentary. It's kind of hard to do them live because you're kind of like trying to make sure that things are running properly at the same time.
I'd love to have some fairy tale narrator.
What, Sean?
Absolutely.
Okay, mine is shut down too, so another baseline.
So roughly my baseline at the moment is running at 13 watts. And running at 9 TPS, and the validator actually doing its general task is 21, and then running at 2,300 TPS is 34. Interesting numbers.
My beast is back down to 51.
That's validating still, isn't it, though, Jeff?
Oh, that's just running the monitor, the giant down GPU.
Right. Need to stop playing top trumps with PCs.
Yeah, that baseline at 51 watts, that's solitaire.
But I raised you a GTX 3080. Ah, that spike might have been my validator monitor running.
Well, that could be.
Because funny enough, at the same time, I got a thing saying your validator's gone offline.
Is this the point where I should mention, oh, I did not record?
Do it again.
That's a huge relief.
If we're doing it again, I'm going to go and grab another couple of beers.
Oh, too early here for beers.
So somewhere it's late on the...
Okay. So what's left, John?
Literally just got a couple of minutes left just for this to do a baseline check without no validator running.
Okay.
But I did forget to turn off my validator checking program. Which runs once every 10 minutes.
So is everything you're doing there running off solar power right now, John?
2 seconds, I'll just double check. Yeah, still running off batteries as we speak.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, 65% charge. So the batteries are doing okay at the moment. They should see me through the night at least.
So do you pretty much get like most of your power from solar?
Yes. So through, I would say, most of autumn, summer, and spring, I get majority of my power through solar. I literally have just ordered a load more solar panels to go up on my shed that I've just built to cover the cost of the winter. So I'm hoping to pretty much be getting on for 80% of the year covered with solar.
That's amazing.
That's the plan. And then when I come into obviously the peak summer next year, I've got quite a few little tricks that I'm going to try and do where I can preheat water and stuff going into my boiler. So hopefully I won't have to pay for as much gas either.
Oh, that's really cool.
Joys of installing it yourself, I guess. Alright. Nice. So 536. So just my PC running at the moment, I was 12.86 watts. So I'm looking to, from just the PC running on its own with the usual stuff running in the background, I'm call it 12.5 watts. Then to run the validator at 9 TPS, I'm running at 21 watts. And then when we bump it up to 2,300 watts, I'm running at 34 watts. So
Off the top of my head, that's fantastic.
if you take that off, that's 20. To run a validator and just the validator part on your PC or on my spec PC is 22 watts, running at 2,300 TPS.
That's very, very, very close to what I got as well.
Mads, how's yours looking non-running?
Non-running, and I closed the CPU program, which I discovered was consuming 2 watts. It's the baseline is 1819, so, which is visible in the screen without running the validator. I need to calculate it again with the numbers I've written down. But I guess without CPU baseline, I guess 18, 19 watts. And with the validator, without the CPU program, it was even lower the baseline. It was then the baseline 26. It was 23.5.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one, I guess if we put the CPU program out, I guess average 2035.
Yeah. 35, 37?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then the same again, roughly. $2017.